Well, let's take a look at the latest on the Nkambe bomb blast. Well, you're just watching the video of the corrupt son, Nkambe Ngala Jared, who stands out as a traitor to his people. As a national lockdown drew close, the tumult has caused, rather lingers in the minds of those affected, leaving a legacy of pain marked by injuries and death. There are reports that the improvised explosive device, the IED, detonated mere meters from the grandstand amidst children clamoring to make purchases. Apparently, Gala Gerald didn't care. Those injured in the explosion are currently receiving medical attention at the Nkambe Regional Hospital Annex. Since the beginning of the year, Nkambe facade as a haven of peace has been shattered by repeated incursions from the colonial military forces of La Republique. Tragically, one of the casualties of the violence instigated by Ngala Gerald on the 11th of February 2024 was Miss Lenyu Bonge, a Form 4 student from GHS who has now been confirmed deceased. As previously noted, Ngala Gerald, who is believed to entice with meager sums from the CPDM's coffers, has been linked to an incident where an explosion targeted those who ignored the ban on the 11th of February celebrations in Nkambe. Evidently, Mr. Gerard has chosen to use coercion and manipulation against his own people, ultimately leading to their downfall, all without offering substantial preventative measures, accepting bribes from Yaoundé in exchange for betraying the freedom of his own community. Is a clear act of selfishness.
Well, it is imperative to acknowledge that the 11th of February is regarded as a provocative day. It commemorates the moment when genuine aspirations were derailed by deceit and subsequent annexation. Enablers like Ngala Gerald show little regard for the significance of this day. One of the victims of the appalling incidents involving Ngala Gerald in Nkambe on February 11, 2024 was Miss Cherish Lemio Bonge. As a Form 4 student at GHS in Yanji, Nkambe, she was a bright young girl whose potential was mercilessly extinguished due to the malevolent maneuvers of La Republique de Cameroon proxies such as the ADF and Ngala Gerald. Finally, the government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia has issued a statement addressing the tragic events in Nkambe. In a communique, Dr. Martin Mungwer, Secretary of State for Communications and IT, and a fellow of the American Society of Catopathology, announced that their government is calling upon the international community to set up an impartial fact-finding mission to Ambazonia. The goal is to uncover the truth behind the incident and ensure that those responsible are brought to justice and held accountable for their actions. Currently hospitalized and nursing grievous injuries, with some patients having lost their legs, the victims have garnered significant sympathy from Wunbun Cultural and Development Association, WICUDA.
Well, in response to their plight, Wikuda has initiated a campaign to provide mobility aid to these victims who were lured by Ngala Gerald with promises of quick financial gain, only to be left with severe injuries. While these individuals endure hardship in the hospital, it has been reported that Ngala Gerald remains insulated in his comfort zone in Yaoundé, the political capital of La Republique. Well, the question we're wondering is, amid this distress, we must question, where is the so-called money that Ngala Gerald flaunted? Not even a word of sympathy. Now Wikuda finds itself appealing for financial support to cover the victims' hospital food bills and other necessities.
Well, it is good to hear that Wikuda solicits support for victims of Nkambe bomb blast, but there are many more questions we would like to ask. We expect to see these associations rising up against the evil acts of CPDM loyalists like Ngala Gerald, because it is sad prevention, and it is also known that prevention is better than cure. Well, this is still a good thing regardless. following the tragic bomb blast in Nkambe, which claimed the lives of at least one individual and caused injuries to over 50 others. The Windbom Cultural and Development Association, WICUDA, is reaching out to residents within Donga-Manchun County and surrounding areas for assistance. The appeal made by WICUDA's General President Rogers Mfowe on Monday, February 12, 2024, seeks immediate support for the victims. In his words, it says, "We urgently call upon the community for assistance in any form, whether it be blood donations, food, beverages, materials, financial contributions, or psychological support," Mr. Mfongwe stated in an announcement. The incident occurred on Sunday, February 11th, as a result of a homemade explosive going off during the 58th National Youth Day celebrations in Nkambe, which was largely attended by nursery, primary, and secondary school students. A high school student named Nanji tragically lost his life in the explosion, with over 50 further casualties, some of whom face critical injuries according to WICUDA. At this difficult time, there is a noticeable absence of response from colonial authorities. One might expect that those who encourage these innocent children to participate in their festivities, placing them in the harm's way, would be the first to offer support and comfort. Disappointingly, there has been no such initiative from those officials to provide aid or visit their injured children, betraying an apparent lack of concern for their welfare. WICUDA implores not just local officials but all able members of the community and beyond to come forth and help the young victims during this period of need. Every act of kindness and solidarity can make a difference in their recovery.
Well, that is so true. Looking at the press release today by Dr. Martin Mungwa this afternoon, we think the proactive stance of the Ambazonian government, which calls the international community's attention to the troubling events unfolding in Nkambe, is commendable. Amidst the distress, we are witnessing the full function of a government dedicated to serving its people. However, one cannot help but question the whereabouts of the so-called blood money that Ngala Gerald once ostentatiously displayed. His silence lacks even the barest hint of sympathy. Consequently, the West Cameroon Cultural and Development Association, the WICUDA, finds itself in a position where it must solicit financial support to manage the hospital food bills and other necessities for the victim. This negligence and malignant politicking of Mr. Gerald stand as a dark reminder, and we fervently hope that those who have suffered at his hands will draw lessons from this very terrible experience, becoming more cautious and outrightly avoiding any corrupt enticement that might endanger their lives and risk their safety. The Yaoundé regime has a notorious reputation for exploiting the impoverished people of Amazonia, a practice that sadly continues to this day. We hope the people of Nkambe and other counties in Amazonia learn lessons and stay clear of the Ngala Gerald and the Victor Mengot, the Elvis Ngoles, and many others. Well, our hearts goes to the families who have lost loved ones once again. Well, this is about it for this report. That is the update we've gotten on it. We'll be moving on to the very next report.